the thing, don't touch anything.
Not touching.
And I'm gonna confirm on my phone that it's working.
Right.
Then,
See, that's our clue that it's going.
and then the last thing is gonna be this turn off
Exactly.
and
But
stand.
wait 1 second. Let's just make sure it all goes through. We do that.
Also, we're okay, it's 10:30. Well, is that clock correct?
10:33? Yeah, that's correct. Okay. Yep.
This is a good start.
Yeah, this is what it should be doing with the box cast.
Should really change directions. So you think. Okay, are we happy? It hasn't started because it's waiting.
Because
thinking,
it's creating a
considering.
signal.
Okay, now it's ready. Yeah,
You're on.
now I'm turning this off on the
Yeah,
bumpy
exactly.
thing.
And it does say the name there. So it's good.
Yeah.
Why didn't it go off?
Well, hold on. Why don't we ask Jeanette to turn it on?
To the right of the little.
We have
It's
Jeanette
not
turn it on.
this?
It's, yeah, you're on. That's
The
that one.
bumpy
Yep.
thing?
Wait.
That's, yeah, that's it.
Ask Jeanette to turn it on.
Yes, but while I'm here, is the bumpy thing or the one peg coming out?
It's no, the right, to the right of the one, the bumpy thing. Exactly.
Okay,
Push up hard.
well, Jeanette's gonna do it. And then Jeanette, you'll do the stanchion, yeah?
There you go. And then hold it, press and hold. There you go.
Thank you.
And Jill, just so you can see what it looks like on our website.
Thank you.
There we are.
All right. A few minutes.
All right. Well,
Seems like a pretty.
well.
All right. Thank you.
Oh, it's somebody wrote it, in the comments. 9302, oh, yeah. Charlie. Shelley?
Yes.
That is. Oh, Lisa, Lisa's not. Which one? Yeah, Lisa. She's like, just wonderful. She, so reason she also teaches, she's one of our, she's the 33-year-old. Yeah. Yeah, she tries to be so much. And in the same way, we're talking about it's like this for us. She just got, she works like regular administration. She's very she just got.
Yeah. First one on my mind. That first one. But I want to be able to have a very
Yes.
Good morning, Shabbat Shalom, everybody. So good to see you all. It's really wonderful to welcome you back to the chapel. And we are also using virtual as much as possible so that we can create a multi-access community for everyone who can participate in any way. So welcome to anybody who is with us virtually in the chat as well. We feel your strength. Begin by just saying a hello to one another to make sure we're all among the community. It's possible we've had a chance to chat already, and then we have some familiar faces. It looks like a tourist any group. But let's take a moment to make sure. Just take a moment. If there's anyone there you don't know, that you can go ahead and meet. Oh, it's all right, we're going to begin in our prayer books on page 74 in just a moment with Mashmahu. Mashmahu is that very text that came from last week's Torah portion. It was those words of blessing meant as a curse initially and then said as a blessing. So the very beginning of Mashmahu, those words of blessing are the words that bring us into daily Jewish prayer. If you look into the English translation with me for a moment in the middle of page 74, sometimes we do, sometimes we don't make it to the last stanza in our chanting, but if you look with me at that last stanza, the first line, as for me, may my prayer come to you, Adonai, at a favorable time. You'll see below the line in the footnotes that actually the rest of the prayer is taken from different texts, different pieces of our sacred literature come together for this prayer that brings us into this space. And in this first time for Shabbat morning together in person, these words are calling out to me in a whole fresh new way, thinking about what it means to be a prayer in this moment. When I read that line, I think about my prayers coming to God at the right time. You know, does that mean that this is the right time for God? I don't know. That's far beyond what I can imagine. At best, I hope it's the right time for me. I hope I can create the right moment for me to pray. And then each of us can create the right moment for each of us, that we can find ourselves as present in a spiritual place, in a spiritual time, in this holy moment of Shabbat. So we continue on page 74, Motto. So many of us are re-entering life in a new way, re-entering in-person living and whole living in a new way, with the hope that the very things perhaps in the past we took for granted, we no longer take for granted. We'd like to bring with us that sense of gratitude, that sense that the very daily mundane experiences of our lives are actually miracles. And so on page 80, we continue with Nisim Polio, blessings for daily miracles.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who has given the mind the ability to distinguish day from night. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who opens the eyes of the blind. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who frees the captive. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who lifts up the fallen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who stretches the earth over the waters. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who strengthens our steps. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who clothes the naked. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who gives strength to the weary. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who removes sleep from the eyes, slumber from the eyelids. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who made me in the image of God. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who has made me free. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who has made me a Jew. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who girds Israel with strength. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who crowns Israel with splendor.
Continuing with Psalm 150, we turn to page 100.
It's always something technical, isn't it? When your cable destroys itself. It's all. I just needed a second. All right. Hallelujah.
Coming into the Shabbat with abundant thanks. Let's turn to the middle of page 102 and read together. Even if our mouths were full of song as the sea, and our tongues full of joy in countless ways, and our lips full of praise as wide as the sky's expanse, and were our eyes to shine like sun and the moon, if our hands were spread out like heaven's eagles, and our feet swift like young deer, we could never thank you adequately, Adonai, our God and God of our ancestors. To bless your name for 10,000 of many periods of times. You granted favors to our ancestors and to us. Turning to our call to worship on page 108, and by your spirit we rise. In the middle of page 110, we read together. Praised are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, creator of light and darkness, who makes peace and fashions all things. In mercy, you illumine the world and those who live upon it. In your goodness, you daily renew creation. How numerous are your works, Adonai. In wisdom, you formed them all, filling the earth with your creatures. Be praised, Adonai, our God, for the excellent work of your hands. For the lights you created, may they glorify you. Shine a new light upon Zion, that we always swiftly merit its radiance. Praised are you, Adonai, creator of all heavenly lights. Baruch atah Adonai, Yosef HaMelech. The bottom of page 112 together. Enlighten our eyes with your Torah. Focus our minds on your mitzvot. Unite our hearts in love and reverence for your name. Then we will never feel shame, never deserve rebuke, and and never stumble. Having trusted in your great and awesome holiness, we shall celebrate your salvation with joy. Gather us in peace from the four corners of the earth, and lead us upright to our land. For you, O God, were wonders. You chose us. Truly, you drew us near to your great name, that we might acknowledge you, declaring you one in love. Praise be you, Adonai, who chooses your people Israel in love.
Baruch atah Adonai, habocher b'amo Yisrael b'Adonai. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai
Page 116, please be seated.
ואתה ראית אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך ושיננתם לבבך ודיברת ושבתך בביתך ולכתך בדרך ושוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם אלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
At the top of page 121, together, and that there is no place where you are not, even in the wilderness. There is your word, and that quenches sources of lightning, white fire, black flame, circles of action, guide our sacred way, true and enduring is Torah. Your truth for us, certain and established, now and forevermore. Like Moses, Miriam, and all Israel, we sing out and rejoice. Page 122.
מי כמוך באים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילות, עושה פלא, נורא תהילות, עושה פלא. שירה חדשה, שילכו גאולים, ושירים לך בשפת הים. יחד כולם הודו המליכו ואמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד צור ישראל Israel, Ufedei Chilumecha Yehuda Israel, Lo Aleinu Adonai Tzvaot Shemo, Kadosh Israel, Baruch Atah Adonai, God Israel.
Turning to page 124, preparing for those contemplative moments of the Amidah, please rise.
Adonai segatayita uviyatitevina Adonai, open up my lips and my mouth may declare your Avotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el HaGadol, HaGibor, HaNorah, Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, Ve'Gomer Hakol, זוכר עשה אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו ויאהבה, ולחוזר מושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחייב הכל. אתה רב ומושיע, אורי אתה, מחלקים חיים, מחייב הכל ורק סובב נורים ורופא נורים, ומציל אסורים, ומחייב אמונתו, אישי יפה, ניחמוך על גבורו, ומיתו מלך, מלך מביט ומחייב, ומצמיח ישועה, ולאמנת על החיותנו. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחייב הכל. מקדש שמך בעולם, בשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב היה נראיך, זה זמן. קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, ללא כל הארץ, כבודו. עתיר אדירים עניים אדוננו, עתיר שמך בכל הארץ, אדון ותודה אדוני. לדור ודור תגידו לך, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך להקדיש, ושבחך אלוהינו יקימו ימוש לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני האל
Before we move back to page 132 for Yisbuchu, I'm on the middle of page 133 for this reading. A thought has blown the marketplace away. There is song on the wind and joy in the streets. Shabbat arrives in the world, scattering a song in the silence of the night. Eternity utters a day. On page 139, please read responsibly. For the expanding grandeur of creation, worlds known and unknown, galaxies beyond galaxies, filling us with awe and challenging our imaginations. For this fragile planet Earth, its times and tides, its sunsets and seasons. For the joy of human life, its wonders and surprises, its hopes and achievements. For human community, our common past and future hope, our oneness transcending all separation, our capacity to work for peace and justice in the midst of hostility and oppression. For high hopes and noble causes, for faith without fanaticism, for understanding of views not shared. For all who have labored and suffered for a fairer world, who have lived so that others might live in dignity and freedom. For human liberties and sacred rights, for opportunities to change and grow, to affirm and choose. We pray that we may live not by our fears, but by our hopes, not by our words, but by our deeds. Blessed are you, Adonai, your name is goodness, and you are worthy of thanksgiving. In the middle of page 141, let us join together in our blessing for peace. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, an eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim this message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country to safeguard peace, its advocate among the nations. Make contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of the world. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of your name fill every home and every heart. Praise are you, Adonai. Bless your people with peace. Baruch atah Adonai. We take these moments for silent prayer. Please be seated.
Heal my soul, you brave feet. Heal my soul, you brave feet. Hurt your knee, if I never. Adonai to me, only the words of my mouth, the meditations of my heart be acceptable before you. I know that my rock, my redeemer. Oh, say shalom, oh, say shalom, aleinu. They are all Israel.
Continue on page 245 with our Torah service. Please rise. Assemble the people, men, women, and children, and the strangers in your cities, to hear, to learn, to revere Adonai your God, to observe faithfully the words of this Torah. Let their children who do not yet know it hear, that they too may learn to revere Adonai your God. Page 246.
Ki mitzion teisei Torah, ki mitzion teisei Torah, udevar Adonai Yerushalayim, Baruch shenatan Torah, Torah, Baruch shenatan Torah, Torah, Be'amah Yisrael, B'kedushato, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Gadol Shemo, Gadol Adonai Iti, Uneromema Shemo Yachdav, Lecha Adonai Habeduna, V'Hagvura, V'Tiferet V'Hashem Tzaf V'Hod, Ki Chol V'Shamayim U'Va'aretz, Ki Chol V'Shamayim U'Va'aretz, Lecha Adonai Hamamracha, Ve'amid Na'aseh B'chol Rosh. Aleinu, 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 Aleinu,
Please be seated. Thank you, Judah, for addressing our Torah scroll. We are honored to have our congregational president, Bishop Bernstein, to lead us in our Aliyah blessing. We are reading it but we are reading a little more about the daughters of Zelophehad. Talk a little more about them. I will refer you to October.
Page
commentary.
1201.
But we don't have them here. They're usually in that shelf and they removed some. So we'll trust that Kendra having this reading. I know. Oh, yeah, if you do have it.
It's Numbers 26, beginning with verse 33. That is on 1201 if you do happen to have a commentary in there. Or close enough. It's commentary, listen, I can only do so much.
And if you want to follow along with Aliyah, it's on page 250.
לא בנים כי בנות, ושם בנות לא אחד, מחלה ונועה, חלה מלכה ותרצה. אלה משפחות מנשה ופוקדיהם, 52,700. אלה בני אפרים ומשפחותם, לשותה לך משפחת השותלכי לבכר משפחת הבחרי לחתן משפחת התחני ואלה בני שתולך ואלה משפחת הרמי, אלה משפחת בני אפרים, לפקודיהם 32,500, אלה בני יוסף למשפחותם.
Page 252, please rise, and I will welcome Judah back up to help us bless the scroll.
בזאת התורה אשר שם משה לפני בני ישראל, כי אדוני ביד משה. בזאת התורה אשר שם משה לפני בני ישראל, כי אדוני ביד משה.
Please be seated. It is traditional to do the Misha Be'erak, our prayer for healing, during the Torah service. You'll see it on the following page, page 253. And the reason being is that the words of Torah are so sweet in our mouths, they're so precious that when someone is unwell and unable to be here to hear those words of Torah, that's when we think of those in our community that we reach out to and send that love, that care from our Torah to them. And so if there's anyone you're holding in your heart this morning in need of healing, I invite you to say their names aloud if you're joining us virtually to write their names in the chat.
the source of strength. Bless the ones before us. Help us find the courage in our lives of blessing, and let us say, ah. We share of equal take. Let's go to the healing with Refuah Shema, renewal of body, renewal of spirit, and let us say, ah.
Any Sixers fans here? Yeah. 76ers? You Sixers fans? All right. No, not so much.
Trust the process.
Trust the process. There we
You know
go.
you're done.
Oh, you're good.
Big part of our lives.
So there was a new bar right near my house, and they were showing all the playoff games. You know, the Sixers, but we'll get there. And they had a sign outside, a special promotion during the playoff games. It read, you get a free drink every time Ben and Simmons hits a three-pointer. Some of you who know the team are kind of out here, and there was an asterisk, and the very small point at the bottom then said, this promotion is not real because Ben Simmons never takes a shot. So for those of you that don't know the Sixers very well, there was a lot of commentary around the star player. They paid a lot of money for it, sort of rised up. It was supposed to be like the great hope for the team during the playoffs that just wouldn't take shots. In game 7, he scored 5 points total and only took 4 shots while being on the field for 36 minutes. Something going on there. Wow. Some of you might have heard this famous quote from Wayne Gretzky, another famous sports player, hockey player, of course, who said, "You miss 100% of the shots you don't take." Well, I've heard that before. I also immediately think of another great quote. This one, maybe the non-sports people will recognize. Manuel Miranda from Hamilton. "I'm not throwing away my shots." That one maybe gets a little more recognition for the non-sports people here. Throughout our culture, we have this idea, right? We gotta take our shots. And that is exactly what I think is going on in this portion. The daughter says the rough cut. They take a chance. What is the worst that could possibly happen? Moses says no. Moses says, no, you can't inherit it. But they do it. They go for it and they take that shot. So I want to actually open this up a little bit to a conversation this morning with a nice intimate group. And I'm interested to hear maybe if people want to share a little bit personally or what you think in the case of this portion, which I don't know years at Torah studies, so covered pretty well. Is there a time when you took your shot, or you didn't take a shot? And how did it turn out? Why or why not? And what do you think about maybe the daughters as a love for God in relation to this as well?
Judah, so when I was 19, I moved here to 15, and it happened to work out. So
Wow, that's amazing. I mean, to think that old, just to,
5 years.
yeah, to do that, that's incredible. That's amazing. Muriel?
So after teaching for 23 years in the middle school, had the opportunity to go to a high school and teach a little more life on that. And it was the best thing I ever did.
Wow, what a big change, right?
It was
From middle school to high school, it's a totally different, you know.
Well, the kids are the same.
That was a big leap though, a big leap of faith, yeah. Others.
I lived in Boston for about 2 years and decided to retire and come to Philadelphia. That was definitely taking a stop start. almost immediately.
And how lucky our community, Judah, Ellen, all of you, that you took the shot. Yeah. Oh, when?
Well, I was the one here, my business. Business didn't work out as well as I thought.
So sometimes we take that shot, it doesn't work out, we're gonna be like, it's gonna work out, right? It doesn't work out, it's gonna work out, but something else, even better, it comes out of it. I love that, that's beautiful. And I think about the daughters of Zelophehad, that at first, maybe they were just thinking about themselves, right? Maybe that shot was just, they were just thinking, we wanna make sure to inherit this, we don't want our father's memory, we don't want the land, to go to someone else, but that shot that they took ended up impacting. It was the law for all time, and it impacted countless women after that. So how important do we know what taking that shot is even gonna do sometimes?
Did not have a good first marriage. He had been married twice before, were engaged for 7 years. Just could not decide. Finally, I decided this is about that's the best decision.
I have to say my conversion, like the fact that I was raised in an Irish Catholic family and we had taken my shot and decided, like, no, this is what I want to believe in, these are the people that I want to be like, so.
Wow. Oh, that's so powerful. Thank you for sharing that. Like, give anyone, especially those that come into Judaism on their own. And, oh, what a powerful shot that is to take. Yeah.
I'm thinking of your Ben Simmons example and part of the message being it's worth taking a shot even when there's a risk we'll fail, you know, and I'm thinking like Denise, your beautiful example, they're all beautiful examples, but this beautiful example of the belief that it takes to commit to be someone's life partner even after others didn't work. And then but those were taking shots too, you know, and we won't know unless we move forward, and may Alan's memory be a blessing. But I'm thinking about how hard it is to message that, you know, to take a risk even when we might fail, that failure is a part of the story of growth too.
And actually, anytime I'm thinking about Al as well, may his memory be a blessing, and the idea that anytime we choose to love someone, we choose to be vulnerable like that, we know that we're mortal, people are gonna die, right? And that even though we're gonna lose someone, we still love them, and that we're willing to take that shot. Wow, it's absolutely beautiful.
I remember the first time I took the risk to chant Torah here at the synagogue, and for those minute and a half, I was in the flow. It was I was in a different world. The only world that existed was me and the letters on the page, and it totally tuned out. And I was exhilarated. I felt when it was over. It was,
But how daunting! I mean, you all saw the text, you know, when Kendra Hyman lifted it. First of all, you got to teach me how to do that. But that idea that you just to put ourselves out there, read Torah, right? With the knowledge that we could forget everything. Like I had those moments, it all was out of my hand. I'm like, oh no, right? But we take that shot, and then we're willing to mess up. It's not a failure, right? And that's the beautiful thing about Torah. Yeah.
Camden Frankel always said, nobody's gonna understand what you say.
That's a little dumb of you because you have to make a mistake. That's exactly right. You'll be your toughest critic sometimes with that.
Just what you just said made me think. You think that when they decided to speak up, they had in their minds what had happened to Korah, that maybe they took their shot, and he spoke up and got swallowed up. Maybe they really had extraordinary courage, because that could have happened for them too.
Ellen, I love that. And I want to actually, to kind of wrap this up a little bit, I want to bring in a midrash that you like. You're good. You give me the perfect setup. This is a beautiful midrash in this portion that plays on the name Zelophehad. Okay, and it may help to think of it in Hebrew. Okay, but I'll spell it out for you a little. So Why, the Midrash begins, why in the beginning are the daughters, and you might have noticed this when the cantor was chanting, they're first named the daughters of Zelophehad, and then they're given their names, right? It doesn't say their names first, it says the daughters of Zelophehad, and then it lists their 5 names. And there's a lot of tough names there. Why in the beginning are they called the daughters of Zelophehad? Now Zelophehad is spelled Tzadi Lamed Hey Het Dalet. You can kind of picture that, but go with me here. You don't actually have to know the Hebrew. And then only later are they mentioned by name. This is due to the shadow. Tzal, Tzadi Lamed, and fear, Pachad. Hey Het Dalet. Pachad. Zelo Fachad. Pachad means fear, right? Tzal Pachad. Tzal Fachad. Fear in the shadow of the fear that they had in the beginning. That fear, maybe it was Korah, maybe it was being women, maybe it was just even going before Moses, right? Or just going up against whatever the norm, the law was. Whatever it was, anytime we go and take our Shabbat, there was fear. There was real fear there. They were in this shadow and they were in this fear. It's Sal Pachad, Salo Fachad, right? I love the way the rabbis played with this. From the start, they were in the shadow of their father, and they were afraid to go in front of the assembly. As they drew closer together, 5 together, this one to the other, they became confident and were thus called by their names. As it is written, the daughters of Zelophehad, and these are the names of his daughters. How powerful that when they drew near to each other, each one together, they had that confidence, they had that faith, they had that strength from each other to step out from that shadow of their father, to step out from that fear of the unknown, that fear of failure, right? That fear of putting themselves out there and to stand up and to no longer be just Banot Zelophehad, not just daughters of shadow and fear, but to become 5 women each of themselves. May we all merit and be just like those daughters of Zelophehad, when we have the strength to step out of the shadow, to step out of the fear, and together with our community, supported, strengthened by each other, may we get to stand up and advocate. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
We continue on page 256 as we rise to return the Torah to the ark.
Es Chaim lama chasikim va betorah be'usha tirateha darkei olam v'chol tzivoteiha shalom. Ashireinu Adonai Enecha v'nashlucha Kadesh Kadesh Yameinu Kadesh Yameinu
We remain standing as we continue with Aleinu on the top of page 282.
Aleinu nishafet l'adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שהוא נותן שמיים ויוצא לארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינת עוזו בבוקי מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אור, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים יהודים, לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר, היה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו
Please be seated. Our thoughts now turn to those who departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. This week, our congregation observes yard site for Samuel Aaron, Nathan Aronson, Fred S. Bandler, Anna Bass, William Bass, Gustav Bauer, Esther Bowden, Carol Herzog, Eliza Black, Rosalie Brand, Harold L. Werner, Nicole Butler, Norman Keeney, Jean Rosenberg Cohen, Jessica Jennifer Cohen, Joseph S. Erzberg, Louis A. Feeder, Israel C. Feldman, Edith Fig, Myron Fishman, Jean Friedman, Emmanuel Gans, Pauline Miller Goldenberg, Rita Grum, Martin Grupp, Fidel Y. Imovitz, Yona Henschel, Harry Humphrey, Benjamin Israel, Miles A. Jelinek, Alice Davidson Disraeli, Harold Joseph, Richard J. Cates, Carrie Pollock Katzenberg, Connie K., Daniel J. Kemple, Abraham Kirschbaum, Beulah W. Cohn, Robert William Cohn, Samuel Crace, Joseph Lockman, Ida Langstather, Mildred Summer Leipziger, Lady Lightstep, Jacob Levington, Ann Levin, Adeline Levy, David Levy, Jerome Lewin Jr., Leo Lipkin, William Lowenberg, Oscar David Mann, Mark S. Mayer, Morris B. Mayer, Joseph W. McLaughlin, Della Stern Myers, L. J. Miller, Mary Mogul, Isidore Moskowitz, Harry M. Nathan, Helen G. Netter, Rebecca E. Netter, Robert Paul, Carol Peterson, Frida Rabinowitz, Linda Ravitz, Robert Rhodes Rice, Mary Rosen, Alexander Wolf Rosenau, Louis S. Rosenthal, Victor H. Sadie, Harry Michael Selesky, Herbert W. Salas Sr., Helen O. Sellers, Henry B. Surfer, Cyril Scherer, Philip L. Shearer, Herbert Silverman, Nathan M. Smuggler, Kathleen Spiegel, Jacob W. Stein, Kurt Stern, Pauline Stern, Rose W. Strauss, Florence Gersley Sunstein, Manuel Tannenholz, Louisa Teller, Nathan Stanley Vogel, Herman Weinstein, Leonard E. Weiss, Henry Weiss, Marshall Walensky, Harold Willis, Arnold Willis, Mina Isaacoff Wilson, Marika Ruth Winheld, Louis Wolf, Minnie L. Wolf, Simon Wolf, Fred Wood, Jill Zukowski. We add the names of those who've been taken from our midst, but not from our hearts in these most recent days. Bernard Kleiman, Brenda Magaziner Flock, Mara Lipschitz, Andy Stern, Kenneth Seiken, Cantor David Wisdom. If you are observing yard site for Shloshi, for a loved one whose name was not mentioned, I invite you to call that name out loud or to write the name in the chat now. Zichronam livracha, may their memories be a blessing. We rise and turn to the Mourner's Kaddish on page 294. Nitgadal v'nitgadash me'rabba, v'alma nivra yutei v'amich malchutei, v'chayechon yomechon, v'chayei v'chol beit Yisrael, v'agalah zman karim yimru amen. Yehi shnei rabban v'rach le'olam omei omaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach yitma'ar v'yitromam yitnaseh, Yitadar yitaleh yitalal shmei kudusha b'richu. Elam kol birchata v'shirata, tushmachata v'nechamata, damiran v'amam v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba v'yishmaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Oseh shalom v'amam, v'yaseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace and comfort to us all. Let us say.
321. Hashem Allah,
May God bless you and keep you. May the light of God's presence shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May you feel God's presence within you always, and may you find peace. Can you hear us? May this be God's will. Amen. Shabbat shalom. Please join us in the wedding first in the lobby for Kiddush. Shabbat shalom. Yeah. Should we turn off? Yeah, I think so. We can talk about that. Turn your screen back on and just shut down. Yeah. I don't think you want to read out for Kiddush, right? There you go, look at that. Okay, and we can just go down to there and just shut down.
I don't have to log out.
Nah, I wouldn't worry about it for now. Like, let's just get to Kiddush. You know, there are times when it's, I don't.
This?
Yep. Yeah, shut down.
I tried on my